Hey guys, what's up? How ya doing? I'm here to talk to you guys about One Piece's new chapter, which is on chapter 1066, and dang, this chapter right here, it goes back all the way back to OHARA. That much I can say. So if anything else, let's just get this started. We had to it that Vegapunk 1 talks about a city that actually existed in futures past. Even Nico Robin is actually talking about with Vegapunk 1. And we go back to how the Buster Call on OHARA happened 22 years ago, etc., and they got eradicated. Vegapunk 1 therefore says, I think it happened because they could uncover the truth of the kingdom's existence whatsoever. Vegapunk 1 also talks about how it's because those who know the history of the void is the history of conflict. It's about the alliance of 20 nations that forgotten the advanced kingdom, which formed the world government as shaped as we know it, and to ensure the ideals of the ancient kingdom does not live on because it's very dangerous whatsoever. They erased every trace from its history because of how it could bring in a lot of chaos. And we have to it that anyone who knows this information will get eliminated right away. Even Usopp is being comedic about it right now. But let's get to the scenes about Nico Robin and Vegapunk 1, because this is the biggest highlight of the chapter here, talking about OHARA and the information of Void Century, And we have to it that Vegapunk 1 asked about OHARA, and we have to Robin asked, why are you asking me about this? We actually did a lot of theories about their extensive research, but once someone high up in the government would know about this already. But Vegapunk 1 says, that's the thing. Government affiliation doesn't make any existence, and I kept in the dark like everybody else. Even bringing this topic up will mean immediate erasure whatsoever. So pretty much anyone who asks about this Void Century or this ancient city or something about the ancient times of history will literally get executed. In other words, killed, because it's just that dangerous to them and they don't like it, which I don't understand why. What's wrong with that, And we had to Nico Robin ask about if that's true, they were researching that kingdom, all the books and materials on OHARA, but Vegapunk 1 says OHARA actually lives on. It shocked the world the entire day when the entire island who was destroyed, save for one little girl. The scholars were labeled devils because they thought they were going to overthrow the government whatsoever. However, I actually paid a visit of my own to the Earth of OHARA scorched incident, and I was actually acquainted with Professor Clover, who is the authority of archaeology, I figured I'd leave some flowers for him, and Nico Robin asked, Clover? How? He therefore says, the thing about him is that he's always been obsessed with the Void Century that fueled his adventurous lifestyle. Ever since then, he always looks at the text and wants to read them, But because of that, the Marines incarcerated him at least 10 occasions and have him settled down, and he was the world's most famous archaeologist, Many countless scholars were actually drawn to him and flocked onto OHARA and became the holy land of archaeology, and those with talented minds will come to a tragedy, I actually stepped foot on OHARA, even the tree of knowledge, and has been burnt to cinders, and I was actually really shocked about it, But the lake at the center had been filled with a large number of books, and I assume it was the work of the scholars, dedicated their final moments to keep the access of the knowledge to be safe, And we had to Vegapunk continues to talk to Nico Robin how if the Marines discovered any of the books or something, etc., they would actually destroy them, obviously. And when I looked at him, I realized I couldn't stop crying here and there. And Nico Robin remembering her time of OHARA and how painful it was for her. And you guys know Nico Robin's backstory, man. She lived on an archaeological island with a lot of knowledge, and it was destroyed in front of her. Not to mention her mother sacrificing herself to save her and ask the giant Saul to save her, And it hurts very, very much, and I understand that. And hell, when it came to Nico Robin in Enies Lobby, I still have some tears about that, etc. And we had to it that, Nico Robin cries over the painful memories here and there. Straw Hats being very angry about it. But we had to Nico Robin ask about, but you said the conclusions about the kingdom about the incident, right? He said, yeah. And she therefore asked, where are the books from the lake that you picked them up? We had to it. Vegapunk once says, I really want to take him back to Punk Hazard and read it and study it. However, if the upper government or world government knows about this, I would have been killed on the spot. That's just how dangerous it is, And, when I went to when OHARA was destroyed 22 years ago, a few months after the Buster Call incident, there was a lot of giants there actually trying to dig up a lot of important books there, And we had to it that we got to see Vegapunk and Dragon. They actually are somewhat acquainted with each other. Well, they actually know each other, maybe because of what they are capable of. But Vegapunk, he is known to be the highest genius, and dang, his head is mother freaking huge. Mother freaking huge. Anyone who read this chapter must have been shocked. I was shocked. I'm like, oh man. Okay, continuing on. We're going to a flashback right now. Giants are picking up books, and we had to a Dragon and Vegamon talk with each other, And this is when they were still young. Monkey D. Dragon was 33 years old, and Vegapunk is actually 10 years older than him, And we had to it that Vegapunk and Dragon are like, hey, what are you doing here, He says, well, I know Clover. What are you doing here? And the guy says, well, I knew the old man, and I want to pay my respects, I know he was once a crazy hooligan who wants to read about the freaking, knowledge around the world, and etc. We had to it, Vegapunk asked Dragon, aren't you worried about the giants? He says, they're not scavengers. I actually talked to him for a bit, It seems they're from Elbaf, and they know how valuable these books are. And the captain was a strange giant wrapped from head to toe in bandages. And it looks like to me that giant is actually Saul, Because they talk about how valuable these books is, and then Dragon remembers how OHARA sacrificed himself for those treasures, and he couldn't let them be erased from history. After seeing what the freaking government's doing, I'm glad they're actually gonna scoop him up and keep him safe, And we had to it that that Dragon says, you passed the Freedom Files a while ago, but it still made me sick to hear that you became a freaking lapdog for the government, Well, Dragon, I guess this is where Dragon and Vegapunk are acquainted with each other. Vegapunk was actually part of Dragon's crew, and he decided to be the government's lapdog, and that really upsetted Dragon, which I understand why, but Vegapunk says, hey, look, don't be stupid. Your freaking ragtag operation was always too poor. How is my intellect anything good if I can't build anything? And it's very understandable. If you're a freaking high intellectual science master inventor genius that could change the world or to make the world better, you want money in order to prove yourself, And it sucks nowadays that not everyone has a chance to build anything they want, to make things good, better, whatever the case may be. You get the idea. But Vegapunk does tell Dragon how how these people are very good, And especially I know that working with the Navy might be stupid and all, but that doesn't lose sight of the goal what I'm trying to do. But we had to it that Dragon's I understand that, but after what the government did, they freaking got destroyed just for a questioning authority. This is really stupid, and I understand that. Dragon, it may look like he's a bad guy, but he's actually siding with the people, while the government are being nasty oppressors and don't want things to go out of control. Dragon, on the other hand, says, sometimes what you guys are doing are stupid, which is obviously from the get-go. We all know the world government in One Piece is all screwed up. They're freaking idiots, and they have the Marines as their freaking army backup, and I'm pretty sure some of them are smart enough to know how screwed up the freaking world government is. Fujitora knows that, even Akainu knows that, but he does what he can as a freaking dog on a leash, but whatever. Okay, sorry for being off topic, but Dragon says, I'm gonna raise an army that's gonna fight them head on, and we have two of Vegapunk's like, wait a minute, I thought you hated war, which apparently looks like to me that Dragon hates war. However, he has no choice because the government's all screwed in the head, and that is pretty much true. And he plans to change the world, as Dragon says, that he won't that OHARA would not die with Clover. And that's when Vegapunk talks about how Emporio Ivankov and Bartholomew Kuma is founded in the Revolutionary Army, That's where the Straw Hat crews are like, whoa, this is pretty crazy, but why did Kuma help us? How much did Vegapunk did to modify him, And even Sanji's really shocked about that, to see that Kuma is the one that's the founder of the revolutionaries, And then Vegapunk 1 continues to talk about how the books of OHARA cannot be founded by the government. So that's why I went through the hellish journey to Elbaf to study the freaking books of each and every one of them. I took everything OHARA uncovered about the world's secret and memorized it. It's all in my head, and I've tried to continue the research, So Vegapunk 1 continues on in that Nico Robin asks about the giant captain. He's actually Saul, isn't he? He says, yeah, it's Saul. So pretty much he's in hiding right now, so I can't really confirm anything. This really was kind of scary because if you guys remember Saul, he sacrificed himself to actually protect Nico Robin, and Aokiji was the one that froze him up and possibly killed him. We thought he died in the Buster Call, but somehow he survived, which is really shocking, and the fact that he's bandaged from head to toe or toe to head, I don't know how he survived that, but I'm pretty sure Aokiji will be very happy to know that he's alive and he's done with the world government, and I'm pretty sure he could agree with Saul and all. Because if you guys know, Aokiji is not part of the world government no more. The sucky thing is, though, he's part of Blackbeard's crew, which I don't know why he is, but if he finds out that Saul is alive and Nico Robin is there and then they reunite, that'll be a nice moment. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, or it may not happen at all, because I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little over dramatic, but okay, enough of me being a little happy and Nico Robin being happy, We have to it that, Vegapunk 1 continues to talk to Robin, saying, I've been trying to uncover every secret as I can possible. With the knowledge that I have and put it into my head, I'm trying to make sure what I can do to learn everything, And we have to it that Vegapunk decides to move the shoes of the Straw Hats and tells them, I want to show you something real quick. We go to Junkyard Egghead's freaking location where Luffy, Chopper, and Jinbei are at, And they end up having to having some fun here and there, and they end up seeing someone's actually in the robot right now, and they see an old man over there, And then he asked hey, someone help me, and Luffy was trying to help the old man, but we had to it that Bunny's hey, I knew it, it's you, Vegapunk. And we get to see Vegapunk is actually surprised to see freaking Luffy and says, hey, you're Dragon's boy, right? I knew you'd come. Good job making it. And Bonnie's like, hey, what the hell are you doing, etc. And Vegapunk's actually happy to see Bunny there, and you can actually float too. Come on, grab this lever and fire away, And we get to see Chopper and Vegapunk flying in the air, which I thought was pretty cool and so forth. And then we see to it that Vegapunk is finally revealed and that he's the biggest brain in the world and leader of the Navy's SSG, Special Science Group, which apparently is actually this group that Fujitora talked to Vegapunk about, which I go wow. But the CP0 or the Celestial Dragons plan to kill him. It's gonna go all over the place right now, but this information right here was actually pretty amazing. Like I said, the chapter ends off with Luffy, Vegapunk, and Chopper flying in the air right now. So overall, in this chapter of One Piece, it is a very big info dump, a huge amount of info dump right now that it's going to be hard to try to separate and explain. But if I had to put it in simple words, OHARA. We all knew OHARA was destroyed, but at the same time, we do remember that the books from OHARA was actually saved and was dumped into a certain location in water. That's where Vegapunk 1 and Nico Robin talk about it with each other, and that the world government was created to stop the knowledge of the ancient history or ancient kingdom that they are in right now, which apparently is very complicated. It's very complicated. Hell, I mean, all I can really tell you is that OHARA, the will of OHARA lives on whatsoever, and that Clover, he was actually a freaking crazy archaeologist who likes to know knowledge and all that, etc. And Captain Saul, after OHARA was destroyed 22 years ago, after the Buster Call incident, we had to it, that Vegapunk and then Dragon talk with each other, and that a giant actually was trying to save these books whatsoever. That's when Vegapunk 1 went to OHARA and decided to study everything he knows about it because of Captain Saul. We don't really know where he's at right now, but all I can really tell you is that he's alive. He's freaking alive. Robin is actually happy and so forth, etc. We don't know where he's at right now, but all I can really tell you is that Vegapunk 1 talks to Nico Robin about the knowledge he kept inside his head, from OHARA's secrets and all that, in order to fulfill or try to read them out, etc. Which I thought was pretty cool and all, and etc. Sorry for being a little iffy biffy, but yeah. Now, Dragon and Vegapunk, they are actually acquainted with each other. In fact, I think they were teammates or partners, but however, Vegapunk, decided to take the other route and work with the government because they got money, they got the tools that he needs to use in order to create a lot of things, which is very understandable. I mean, if you're a genius level intellect and you have the biggest brain in the world to create anything you want, from possibly robots, artificial intelligence, even possibly nuclear weapons, you want money. You want money to actually help the world, or maybe help yourself to do a lot of inventions here and there. Unless you're freaking Tony Stark, but Vegapunk's a bigger brain, you get the idea. But all I can really say is that Dragon really hates the government because of what they've done. They literally decided to destroy OHARA just because they got into something personal about the Void Century whatsoever, which I understand why. I'm glad Dragon is the guy who's gonna fight the world government because it's necessary. Heck, if I were Luffy right now, I wouldn't care, but those who try to hurt my friends, I would want to destroy the world government, declaring war on them, going hey, you stole my friend, you want to go to war? Okay, I'll give you war. Let's do this, that kind of thing, and so forth. And yeah, which apparently I'm really glad that OHARA is still relevant. I mean, it lives on in Robin, but it's gonna live on in Vegapunk 1. That depends on the situation. But one thing's for certain is that we're gonna have a big battle on Egghead Island. That much is certain, because CP0 and all that, they're ready to fulfill their mission to kill Vegapunk, which is a big mistake, honestly. Because I don't care. But that aside, one thing's for certain is that Luffy, Chopper, and Bonnie ends up meeting Vegapunk, and they go on another crazy adventure, which I look forward to, man. I mean, very funny stuff, and to see Vegapunk old, man, and his head having to shrink up but shrink down a bit, and he knows Bonnie and Luffy and calls them Dragon's Boy. So yeah. Anyways, pretty cool chapter, very big info dump. Hell, this is one hell of a long video, considering that I'm trying to recap everything, and I try to put it as simplified as I can, that Vegapunk 1 and Nico Robin talk about OHARA, and how OHARA was getting closer to the truth about the Void Century and the Ancient Kingdom, and that they were eliminated for it, but the guy has everything about it in his head and trying to continue the research. But the government's a total douchebag, if anything, killing anyone who would dare know this information. But anyways, I'm looking forward to next chapter, and it's gonna be pretty exciting. I highly doubt we're gonna get any fights soon, but if we get, I hope we get some action fights sometime next year, because that's where it's gonna go. And as for Wano and as for the anime Wano arc, I'm pretty sure it may end sometime next year too. I don't know when, I don't know where, but one thing's for certain is that hopefully it'll be exciting. So until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.